Hi, babes. It is TOKE and Talk Wednesday because Wednesday is ruled by Mercury, god of communication, messenger god. That's why communication and technology get so crazy when we go into Mercury retrograde. And I invite you, no matter what time of day you're watching this, to toke with me so we can get on the same level. You heard that? I've already been toking a little bit. See, this is how it is with me. I'm going to be real no matter what. And just 100% give y'all authentic me. I'm not trying to hide it or mitigate it or pretend it is not what it actually is. So let's get to it. Let's get to the authenticity. Let's get to... I want to talk about resilience today. Yeah, we're going to talk about resilience today. But first, let's see if I can do this without burning myself. So, I want to know, no matter what time of day you're watching this, whether you're watching this now or in the replay, I want to know. Or on IGTV, what is resilience to you? What's a story of yours that is like an example or an embodiment of resilience for you? What is your resilience story? Because I feel like most of y'all already know what mine is. But I think there's another resilience that has come from within me that I'm sort of calling out right now. And I normally don't like to talk about things, so y'all know I'm a talker. I love to present information in new ways. I love to talk about my perspective on things and what I've learned. I love to guide others through my wisdom and remind those that I'm serving that each of you have your own well of wisdom. Hoping that talking about my story helps you, is like breadcrumbs for you to find your way back to your stories and find resilience in them and see yourself with so much love and compassion in those spaces. This is something that I'm going to work through right now as I'm talking. Is this the resilience to death? Because I think that's sort of the ultimate resilience. there are a lot of deaths, and this is, wow, okay, so this is also something that, who is it? Tiffany from Live with Tiffany, or Live with Tiffany, I'm not sure which it is, but, was talking about really taking the time to mourn your losses, and even if they're not like actual like human or loved one deaths, because the death of a pet is really hard and traumatic and deserves grief as well, deserves the full grieving process as well. There are a lot of other things to grieve and to mourn throughout our lives that happen, and it's not just the death of people, but the death of plans, the death of hopes and dreams, the death of expectations, the death of so many different layers, so many different layers of life, layers of living that we end up feeling a loss of at some point in our lives, mourning the loss of money, mourning the loss of a home, of your space. I think we're all in mourning right now. We're all in a collective grief spiral because we're all kind of mourning the loss of certain liberties and not being able to safely live in our truths and move throughout the world. We're all discovering a little bit of taste, a little tiny taste of that medicine, that space medicine, that need for space, that desire for space and for assured safety. It's a hard thing to lose, that assurance. And that's why I feel like so many people need card readings right now. But also are finally starting to seek them, and I'm finding more and more clients, repeat clients are coming back to me like, hey, are you still doing that thing? Because I would really love some assurances right now. I would really love some information right now that I can hold on to and ground myself in, because everything else, I have to surrender to everything else. Everything else is chaos right now. All I can really know is what the universe tells me at this point, because I can't guess what's happening from here. That's where collective reassurance comes from, is us just living comfortable day-to-day lives that don't get shaken up and don't get tossed up and don't typically have such like radical cultural earthquakes. And especially this is a worldwide. I mean, if we think back to 9/11, 2001, that was like a cultural earthquake for us. And now it's like a global earthquake that's still and volcanoes erupting too. Literal, actual natural disasters have been going on for the past couple of years, that they've just been building and building and building and building. So there's mourning the loss of physical safety in that aspect, if you've been paying attention. if you like believe in climate change and all of those things. If you don't, then maybe you haven't noticed. But okay, I'm pulling back my judgment now. Okay. We have this assurance from the universe that everything's going to be okay when everything kind of is okay for a while. Even if it's just okay for a while, we're still like, oh yeah, I'll take it. Thank you. I'll accept that. Just okay, fine enough for me. Those of us who know that just okay is like a safe place to go into healing and have been doing that during those times are now the ones who are sort of strengthened and emboldened to continue with those healing practices as we go, knowing that all of our victimhood stories, all of the times that we've had to mourn losses of our sense of physical safety after assault, mourn losses of our emotional safety after breakups. The one for me that I'm still really almost wrestling with right now is the actual physical deaths of my brother and my aunt. Because what I've found out recently, what I've discovered recently, and that's only because I've gone through like this whole foundation of healing and processing that grieving with these two people that I really love, that I really wanted to spend more time with. When I grieved and I really tapped back into my own beliefs about what happens after things go away and leave your life, once I started tapping back into this acknowledgement that everything that is connected by love always finds a way back to each other, and connected by grief as well. Because through the connections that we make with love, we also always experience what that painful, almost opposite is. But it's so tied in, because when we're experiencing pain, we need those love connections. We seek out those love connections. And very often, it is with love that we can even approach our pain and other people's pains and begin to heal. So even though love and pain have this entanglement is a word that has been coming up a lot lately. Even though love and pain have this entanglement, and losing people is like the strongest form of feeling that pain, and the entanglement of like why love something, why care so deeply about something, why attune your energies to the hope and the dream that there is more of that something in the future. when the pain of its loss is so powerful every time. What I've discovered after tapping back into my faith that nothing that loves me ever really leaves me has built up this faithful layer of resilience that every time I'm mourning the loss of something else, like when I had a car crash, my first car crash ever, and I fucking totaled my car. My car that I loved so much and I wanted to keep forever, and I finally had like the stuff to tow my trailer on there, and I felt like I was gonna be a moving girl and a going girl, and yeah. When I totaled that car, I immediately came to this sense of gratitude because I knew that what I love never really leaves me. If the universe is finding a way to take it from me right here and right now, then I will always be connected to the goodness that I got from that entanglement, from that connection. And now everything that I loved about that car, I have, and then some. I have, and better, in the car that I have now. I still have to get my towing shit so I can hitch my trailer and go places soon. That's one of my dreams. That's one of my love entanglements that sometimes, because it's not here yet, I'm like, ow. But also, wow, how cool is it that I've lost so much and I still gain so much more. The thing is, with the loss of people, there's no like, I mean, in a sense, I'm gonna take a smoothie sip, so if you want to join me. Smoothie break. In a sense, when you lose anything, there becomes this void where that or better, if you're welcoming it and you feel deserving of it and you are grateful for having had it as good as you had it, and knowing that you don't deserve any less at this point, whenever there's a void in your life, the universe will always fill it. The universe is like a cosmic chef who wants to keep your table full, and every time you send something away or send something back because it's not quite there, or every time you ask for a dish again because it was amazing and the cosmic chef got it so right, there are always those spaces in front of you on your table that when you hold space for that or better, that's what you get. And I don't necessarily, this is where I'm trying to center myself in this understanding of this belief. I would like to embody this belief in a way that's very new to me, because through my spiritual gifts and through just finding that resilience through healing myself, I've found that my channel has opened up to people who have passed on. And recently, when my dad had blood clots in both of his lungs, I had to drive the rest of my family home because they were like fucking torn up about it, and I was the only one who could stay level about it. And when we got home, I just like laid out next to the car and was like, this is the first time I've been too afraid to even try to call on my aunt and my brother, because honestly, I've been afraid of second guessing myself and not really believing that when they're here with me, that when I'm getting the messages I'm getting are really from them and like not from me. Because that's the one thing about mediumship, is like I'm so confident in what other people are giving me, and I'm developing that confidence more and more the more I just like say the weird things that I'm seeing. And I just trust that the other person is meant to understand it. Like I talked about mushroom spirits and tree spirits for someone's grandfather who had passed on. And she was like, he was like a mushroom expert. And he was just this guy who was like out in the wilderness, like always communing with nature all the time. Just like love the solitude of connecting. And I was like, whoa, he's got some tree and mushroom spirit energy. And also he's letting you know he's I know he seems straight-laced, but he hit it with the mushrooms. Like he had that experience, and yeah, he was about it. But anyway, see, that kind of stuff I'm like very confident in delivering. But when I ask for it for myself, like even when I read for myself, when I read cards for myself, sometimes I'm questioning myself, because like the answers that I think I'm gonna get and the answers that I actually get differ so greatly. I mean, I'm a human like anybody, any and everybody else. So when I'm using my channel, it's hard to really believe and have faith in that being from who I'm trying to connect with, from my aunt, from my brother. And when I was laying on the pavement next to the car after getting back from picking up medication for my dad for when he got home the next day from the hospital, I really just asked, because it felt like everybody was just falling apart. I just finally asked, can you let me know, Vic, what's going on? Can you please all just let me know what's going on? What do I need to do? What's happening? What needs to happen? What's going on? And the messages that I received were real, and it's like I knew that in that moment I had to trust that they were real, because like this was an emergency, and like what came through felt very clear for me, and like a very strong connection to their voices, and my granddad's voice too. It was cool. So now I know that there's still space to connect with them actually in my life. And also, I think grieving them and developing this desire to be healed from it and not carry around, I'll carry around the sadness forever. I'll carry around the sadness forever, but I don't want to carry around the victimhood forever of like, these people were taken from me. Because honestly, I kind of feel that way about one of my friends who I'm no longer friends with. There's still a little part of me that holds space for them, even though that love and that pain entanglement were very strong. So my thing is, I feel like resilience is the ability to mourn the loss of people, ideas, places, things, all of the nouns. Mourn your losses and sort of rise above them. Use that strength that you develop every time you mourn, and that sensitivity, that well of sensitivity and intuitive wisdom that you need, that you have to call on every time you face losses, because like, we cannot face the pain of loss. Like I said, we can't face the pain of loss without love. We can't. You get that from connection to the nouns: people, places, things, ideas. Food, specifically. So with this resilience, with this inner embodiment of strength, you just keep on recognizing that you have to be patient in the healing process, in the releasing process, in the mourning process. Witness yourself where you're at and give it permission to go deeper, to do it all the way. Because that's how you heal. Like, that's how you not just get through it. You can release it. Sometimes it's just you that's holding on to it, and you think you're going through it, but you're really not. You're dragging it. You're dragging it around with you. And that's not resilience. You know, if you feel like you're still being dragged by it, that's not resilience. That's victimhood. That's self-sabotage. That's selling yourself out to a story that doesn't empower you. Resilience is transforming all of your stories of that love-pain connection, of the things that cause us pain that we love or we once loved or we still love, and it's painful because it's gone now. Use that connection to transform all of our stories so that it's not just about what you went through. It's about what you got to let go of, what you got to stop dragging around, what you got to align with. Because resilience will teach you one thing. You're gonna keep facing shit over and over and over, but it's the shit that you choose, you know? Because if you keep facing shit over and over, and you're not getting stronger every time, you're not, empowering yourself to to create your own reality and take charge of your your ability to let the cosmic chef know what you want filled on your table and what it can take away. Thank you, kindly. Get this off my plate because I don't like this and I don't want this anymore. If you're not using every lesson that has come through to empower you, then you might find that building resilience is a really hard thing to do, or maybe a new thing to you, because you've never even tried to change your stories before. You've looked at your stories a lot over and over and over, and they get harder to look at every time. But you just need that one question that provokes you to say, who are you in these stories that you're telling? Are you the protagonist? Are you the victim? Are you the redeemer? Are you the hero? Who are you? Who are you in your stories? Because once you get clear on that, the redemption of those stories builds resilience. Smoothie break. So tomorrow in the Vibrant Coven, I'm going to be hosting a pop-up class on Instagram Live all about building resilience. And I'm going to reshare in my stories the slides for that post, but I also have a few more tricks up my sleeve from what I've learned for how I've built resilience in my life, and from all the wisdom of observing other people who are resilient and inspire me because they just keep coming back stronger. There's all of that in store tomorrow in the Instagram Live pop-up Building Resilience class. The Vibrant Coven is a place where if this, like, sharing wisdom and having this, like, communal space where we just, like, expand upon these ideas and these feelings, then the Vibrant Coven is the space where our inner child comes out and plays and makes mistakes in those spaces and gets to be wrong and gets to experiment and be curious and ask questions and share our fears. And it's kind of like, you know, this is more of like the passing along information and messages space where you can get like those crystal clear messages. And there, actually, I share my messages in the podcast as well. So, you know, I try to be the hag here, the crone who has the wisdom and the information here. And then there, I get to be like big sis. I think that's the best way I can describe it, is I get to be big sis. I get to show up as everyone's sibling and just encourage fun and laughter and play in the learning process. And then we get to come back here and we get to be very wise and very sage and cry together. We're going to be crying everywhere because I'm a Pisces, so, like, get used to it. I hope y'all join me for the Build Resilience pop-up class in the Vibrant Coven. And if you miss it tomorrow, then you will definitely be able to get it on our Patreon page for the Vibrant Coven, linked in the Vibrant Coven on the Instagram bio. You'll definitely be able to find it there, and I promise it's worth it. It's worth what I think. What is my Patreon at? $5 a month, and that's it, or $3 a month. It's like $3 a month, I think, maybe. All because I love you. All because I was done trying to stretch myself too thin. And I hope that's something that when I'm talking about that I come on and I share with you all too, because I know that that's something that we all struggle with. But for today, we've got to learn a little bit about resilience. A lot of it about resilience. I feel like I'm more secure in my knowing and my clarity. And feeling really good right now. So I'm going to take this good feeling and spread it into more of my work and my magic. Write a few Instagram posts. Get a few more Patreon goodies lined up for y'all, and prepare for some card readings, because I've got some card readings booked for today. It's all happening. I love y'all so much. I hope you have a beautiful, wonderful rest of your day. I hope you loved these lashes today. You're deserving of all the love you desire.